What up, y'all? Welcome back to Practice the Podcast, where we fuse research and culture to help you develop the mindsets, the habits, the skills that you need in order to live out your purpose with confidence. I'm your coach, Dr. Rees, and it's time for us to get better, y'all. Let's grow. So today in practice, we're talking about allowing your dreams to evolve. And this is something that dawned on me within the last month, that it's really important for us to hold our dreams with our hands open wide, essentially with our heart open, and not feeling like we have to control every single step of the way, because it has been proven to me that God will allow you to live dreams that you didn't even know you had. Like, God will allow you to dream dreams that you didn't even dream before. God will allow you to live out, God will allow you to live out dreams that you never even dreamt. And I have to do a really good job of holding myself back so that way I don't go super into this and it becomes confusing, because I'm so passionate about folks understanding this, especially because I'm living it, and I want other people to live it too. Like, that's the whole point of this, is I want to be able to obviously give game, but I want you to know and understand that there are and is a beautiful world and a beautiful life for you to be able to live. And you're not going to have it all on your vision board. You're not going to have it all sketched out. You're not going to have it all figured out from point A to point B. Now, that doesn't mean don't visualize. That doesn't mean don't have a vision. That doesn't mean, don't think about what you want to do, because that stuff is necessary. But there are going to be things that you're going to experience in life that you're going to be like, I did not have that on my bingo card this year. And so that is what we're talking about today, is allowing your dreams to evolve. So you might be thinking, okay, what do I mean by this? What does that look like? I'm going to break that down in a second. So before I get to that, I got to give us our mindset, our habit, and our skills that I want you to make sure you take away from today in practice. Our mindset is this: your dreams will make room for you. And when I say your dreams will make room for you, I mean big room. I mean huge room. I mean so much room, so much space that you need to be ready for it. And that's why it's important for you to always invest in your craft and getting better and allowing people to know what it is that you're good at, which leads us into our habit. Our habit is sharing your gifts. I need you to this is about to turn into a whole podcast focus in and of itself, but let me slow down. I need you to focus. I need me to focus, but I need you to also focus on sharing your gifts. People need to know what you're great at. Like, people need to know the value that you add to the world. People need to know what you do and how well you do it. I always say this: it doesn't always matter what you know, but who you know knows what you know. And that right there is the sweet spot, because everybody is connected to something and someone. But it's important to have connections to folks who are connected to the things that you want to be able to do. And when you're connected to people who are connected to things that you want to be able to do, you need them to know what you know and what it is that you're able to do. So in order to do that, you got to share your gifts. You cannot keep your gifts quiet. Your gifts are not, listen, I'm about to go off on a tangent. Your gifts are not only meant for you. You have literally been given a gift. You've literally been given multiple gifts. And in the multiple gifts that you've been given, it is your job to increase the value of those gifts and then flip it, turn it, and reverse it and give it out to other people. And in order for your gifts, I believe, to be able to grow, you got to give them. Your gifts grow when you give them. That's a word. Your gifts grow when you give them out. So this is why, like I said a second ago, I want you to hold your gifts in your dreams with your hands open, because when you have the ability to say, okay, God has blessed me with the gift of fill in the blank, And the more you invest in it and the more you give it out to other people, the more you share your gift, the more you add value to other people, the larger your gift will be. And so if you have a mindset that my gifts will make room for me, you need to invest in those gifts and then put those gifts in rooms, share those gifts with other people so other people can help put you in other spaces, i.e., your dreams are going to evolve because you decided to invest in your gifts. Invest in your gifts. Okay, now the skill that I need you to pull out from today is staying faithful to developing your craft. Now, hopefully you can hear that there's a line, and there should always be a line. There will always be an alignment in the mindset, in the habit, in the skill that I want you to take out of today's practice. But staying faithful to developing your craft is important because, and I had to make sure I was saying this the right way, the way that I intended it to, is staying faithful and developing your craft is so important because a lot of people will give up on not developing their craft. Like, if you can stay faithful in developing your craft, you will take the initial talent level that you were given and that joint will just go so far. Like, you'll get so much better at it. You'll be like, wow, I remember I used to struggle with this. I remember this used to be a weakness. I remember I used to be this good at this. And now look how dope I am at that. And the key word here is this: stay faithful. And a lot of times people don't think about faithfulness in terms of something we need to do with ourselves. We oftentimes think of faithfulness as something that has to do with somebody else, right? Either faith in something spiritually or being faithful to your partner, which means being committed, right? Faith is essentially being committed and enduring through it all. I need you to be faithful in developing your craft. The reason why I need you to be faithful in developing your craft is because when you're faithful in developing your craft, that means you're going to endure all the seasons. Not everything's going to feel good. Not everything's going to be your best. You're going to mess up. You're not going to like all of it. The training and developing and the sharpening of your gift is the thing that's going to make you confident in your craft. Pumped. Okay. So our mindset for today is your gifts will make room for you. Our habit for today is sharing your gifts, and our skills is staying faithful in developing your craft. Now it's time for us to get into practice. So the thought process of allowing your dreams to evolve. This past week, I had the ability to, number one, write some bars. To know me is to know, in another life, if I could choose like an occupation, it'd be an R&B singer, a writer, or a rapper. Like, that would be so fire to be able to like be in a rap battle and go back and forth. I don't have that. I don't have that gift. I don't have that skill. To be an R&B singer, I would love to. So I can do that on karaoke night. But next to that would be like a writer for a poetry and all that kind of deal. And I used to write poetry like middle school. And I've always been a person who's loved words, and I've journaled and that kind of deal. Right. But I had the opportunity to be on stage with actual poets. Now, you have to be able to walk out and listen to and catch on to what I'm saying. I had the opportunity to perform on stage with poets, and I'm not a poet. Do I do words? I do words. I'm doing words right now. But I would never have put myself in the pocket of poets to say, yeah, one day I'm going to perform with a bunch of other poets and it's going to be fire. That was not on my bingo card. Why? Because I'm not a poet. And this is the key point to saying, allow your dreams to evolve. And me going back and saying that God is going to allow dreams to come true in your life that you never even dreamt. But when you're experiencing it, you can be like, this is a dream come true. Because you're going to have that feeling of, this is amazing. I'm so excited I get to be a part of this, and you fill in the blank or whatever that this is. So the way that this came out for me is I have the opportunity, and again, whenever you listen to this, it was about a week ago, but to perform at a Storm game, pre-game performance with Trey Baker, who is an amazing Emmy-nominated poet, a brilliant young man. He could be the role model for like he is an amazing role model, but I was going to say for our son. And like, he's great. Like he is an amazing young human being who is rooted, who is excellent at his craft, who appreciates people and history and legacy. And it was an honor to be alongside him. And as I mentioned, he's an Emmy-nominated poet. And so he's an amazing human. And so what happened was we were able to connect with, let me say it this way. He ended up getting a grant to be able to provide some funding and some teaching to some young folks. And he decided to bring that to the Storm. And so through this partnership, they were like, yo, we should bring in Dr. Rees because she can help with the confidence and leadership development aspect of the poetry development. And so this goes back to where I said you need to share your gifts. People need to know, what are you great at? Develop the habit of allowing people to know what you're great at. So because somebody that I know knows that I'm great at helping folks grow in confidence and leadership and youth development, they knew that I would be able to add value to this programming. Now, because of that, I come in. Nowhere in my life would I've ever imagined, again, that I would be inserted in something like this, because it didn't, to me, I didn't see it. But because you don't see it, don't mean it ain't supposed to be. Okay. So all that to say is we get connected to do this amazing project with the Storm called the Next Verse Project. And in this, it is for these students to grow in their confidence, in their leadership, in their poetry writing. And so Trey's doing the poetry and the confidence craft from that perspective, and I'm doing the confidence and leadership from that perspective. And then we're set up to be able to perform before a Storm game. And I'm like, yo, I'm not a poet in that way, but I can write some lines to be able, you know what I'm saying? And I can write some lines in order to set up the flow. So in that, I write 6 bars and I get the opportunity to set the energy for the time, for the performance. Man, when I tell you, I was nervous, sweating, nervous. One, because it was an amazing opportunity. And I believe that nerves are normal. And 2, you're on a different stage, right? Like this is the 4-time WNBA championship team. This is before a game. Like this is a really big deal. And even though I speak all the time, every day, this was another level, right? This was an expansion. And so this was a dream that I've never dreamt, because I didn't even know that I had the ability to dream it. And that is a part of what I want you to get from this, is you're going to live out dreams that you didn't even know were possible, that you didn't even give yourself. I want to articulate this in the best way possible. And I'm going to share this. I'm going to go back a little bit, then I'll come forward. But I remember when I was in middle school and I was hooping, and being a young hooper, you just think the natural pathway is to like go to the league. Like that's just what everybody thinks is, well, if I do this sport, then I'm automatically like going to the league is the next thing that you do. But I remember being afraid of even dreaming that big, being afraid of dreaming that like, well, I can make it to the league. Like, I'm not that good. And I wasn't. Like, I was blessed with, I say this all the time, I was blessed with community college level talent, which is a part of my purpose. And I don't even want to go down that road because we will not come back. But because I was blessed with community college talent, it taught me how to work hard. So that way, eventually I ended up becoming a professional. But I had to go through a whole bunch of fear facing to even be able to say, I have a dream of doing this thing. And because I never voiced it because I was so afraid of it. And right now, when I think about the dreams that I have for my life, yes, something like this would be dope, but I've never allowed myself to even dream that I'd be able to do something like this. One, because where, like I'm a quote unquote motivational speaker or encourager or coach. So I never saw something like what I do being able to fit within the structure of a game. However, if y'all are familiar with like E.T., the hip hop preacher, he has done some speaking for the Cavs and I think just some other teams to where it was used in game promo. And I'm like, that'd be so dope. So I knew that somebody who is in the realm of what I do has done something similar, but I'd never seen somebody who does what I do actually on the floor. So in sharing those stories, the reason why I want you to have the mindset that your gifts will make room for you is because all you have to do is remember, my gifts are going to put me in rooms I didn't even know existed. Your gifts are going to put you into conversations that you didn't even know were being had. Your gifts are going to expand your entire world in a way that you didn't even know was possible. The reason why I want you to make a habit out of sharing your gifts with other people is because those rooms, those conversations, those spaces, those places, they're being had and people are looking for you. People are looking for you to share your gift with them, but they won't know it's you unless you share it. So you need to share your gift as much as possible in every single way. This is why I love social media, because it's the easiest. There's no easier time than now to put your gift out on the internet. And even one, if a whole bunch of people on the internet don't see it, you're still getting the reps and getting better. And I was with my grandpa last week and he was listening. My grandpa's 90 years old and he loves old country music. I think a lot of old, like black folks, they just love old country, right? So he's listening to the Music Choice channel and it's some old white country song. And I'm looking at his TV and I'm like, I'm about to show my grandpa that he could see me on this same TV. Because he's always appreciated and loved what I do from I show him pictures on my phone, but he hasn't been able to really seen it. So I was like, ooh, let me see if I can show him on YouTube. So I go to YouTube and I go and I you hit the remote and you say the thing and I go practice. And then I go, you wish. And my picture pops up and a bunch of my videos pop up. And he goes, who is that? And I said, that's me. And he goes, he looks at me and then he looks at the screen and he looks at me. And he said, you on TV? And all I could do was smile. And I was like, yeah, that's me. He said, what? And he just was amazed. There was just the biggest smile on his face that the same TV that he watches Jimmy Swagger in country music and Sanford and Sons and all those different things, his granddaughter is on that same TV. And he don't really know what YouTube is. He don't really know how the TV works because he's 90. Back in his day, literally it wasn't a smart TV. It just was a box, right? And so for him to look at the TV and see me blew his mind. So he then takes his pen and his paper and he writes down YouTube, you wish, and practice. And I was like, oh, look at my grandpa trying to stay up with me. But the point of the story is this. He then looks at me and says, do they pay you for this? And I said, not yet. He said, so what? And I got chills right now thinking about it. He said, so what? You on the TV. And you could look at you and not have to look at all this other dumb nonsense stuff that's out there. And you're out there encouraging people and you saying all that. And one of the taglines of the video said something about not embracing fear. I can't remember the title specifically, but he read it and was like, man, look at my granddaughter out there encouraging people on the TV. And it don't matter if they pay you. You out here doing it. He said, don't stop doing it, Sugar Pup. Don't stop doing it. You keep going. And for me, that was all the gas that I needed to be able to say, you know what? I'm just going to keep going because I am my ancestors' wildest dreams right here, right now. And the fact that I have the opportunity to show him, the opportunity for him to see him, a young man who was born, sure, he's young, 90 years young, who was born to a sharecropper, whose right mother passed away giving birth to him, who was born having to navigate and fight so many different issues his entire life, whose only dream at that point was to be able to get his cleft lip fixed and be able to survive on his own because he wanted to escape the trauma and systems that he was in. That was his dream, to work hard, to have his own money and provide for himself. That was his dream. So when I tell you, allow your dreams to evolve, I'm telling you it for two reasons in particular when it comes to the story. The first one is share your gifts and get in your reps. So if you're putting stuff out on social media, excuse me, if you're speaking in certain places, if you're doing things, you're like, man, nobody's really seeing it. Nobody, I'm not getting paid for it yet. It doesn't matter. In the words of my grandpa, do it anyways. Keep going anyways. Because the fact that you get to put information out there and it becomes discoverable, somebody is going to find you. Yes, does it need to be quality? Yes, do you need to get good? Yes, are you going to miss some? Absolutely. That's a part of it. But the fact that you're showing up and you're putting yourself out there is increasing your chances. It's making you better, right? It's you staying faithful to your craft. That's a part of it. Not every video I drop gets a whole bunch of views, but that's a part of it. And I'm not getting paid right now, but I will one day. And if my YouTube never blows up, which I really hope it does, but I show up. Are you committed to show up even if you don't blow up? Are you committed to show up even if you don't blow up? And that is what I mean by developing the skill of staying faithful to your craft. Staying faithful to your craft means you're committed to show up even if you don't blow up. The hope is to blow up, absolutely. But you have to be able to still consistently show up. And when you can be faithful to your craft, you can consistently show up, your dreams will continue to evolve because you'll keep getting better. And so when I think about my grandpa and I think about being my ancestors' wildest dreams, and my grandfather, who is my ancestor right here and live in person, sees me on TV, his dream it's evolved times 10. Because he's seeing something, again, that he never even dreamed of. Of course he dreamt, of his grandkids being able to live a specific life. But being on TV, he probably never even had the ability to dream that and even know that it was something that was possible. And so that's what I mean. And that's where I'm trying to encourage you in as many ways as possible, is for you to be able to say, you know what? I need to share my gifts. I need to stay faithful with my gifts. My gifts are going to make room for me. And my dreams are going to evolve because I'm staying faithful. My dreams are going to evolve because I know my gifts are going to make room for me. My dreams are going to evolve because I'm sharing them. And so the evolvement is things are going to transpire. Things are going to happen in your life that you had, the only control you had over it was the investment you put before it even got initiated. And that's it. Because it takes other people in order for these next level dreams to come into play. Because it's not just you. Somebody else has to allow their dreams to evolve in order for some of your dreams to evolve. And so we're literally counting on other people to be able to stay faithful to their dreams and their visions in order for you to be able to show up and do yours. I.e., Trey, being committed to his craft as a poet, has excelled him in his life that led him to being able to get a grant that then brought over to somewhere, to a space that I'm adding value to, for them to say, we need Dr. Rees to help complete this piece. I needed him to understand that his gifts are going to make room for him to share his gifts with the world, and for him to stay faithful to it. So because he did those three things and I did those three things on my side, we collided and made a masterpiece. And I lived out a dream that I never even knew was something that was possible. And so here's the thought, y'all. The thought process is leave room for the spirit. You cannot control everything. You should not want to control everything. If you're anxious about your life and your purpose and your vision, if you're anxious about it, that means you're trying to control it. And the reason why I say that, and I say that in that way, is tied to when my fists are closed in this way and we're holding on so tight to things, it doesn't allow anything to come in them or let go. And so it's easy to get fixated on this is what I want, this is how it needs to happen, and it's so rigid because you're trying to control it. And a lot of times that comes from fear. But if you can make sure your focus is on specific things, your focus is on getting better, adding value to other people, being as healthy as you can, having healthy relationships, you get like all of those things, right? And again, staying focused on, from a craft perspective, investing in the gifts that you were given. You don't have to try to mark out every single thing that you do that you want to do, and it's going to happen here, there. And trust me, I've had 1-year plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans, all of those things. And the more that I've gotten better at allowing the world to do the world, life to life, but for me to stay focused, I've noticed that gives me more peace. I have less anxiety over trying to control specifics, and it also gives me more contentment. So even though we're saying, yes, allow your dreams to evolve, be content where you're at. I didn't say complacent, I said content. And the reason why I want you to be content is because it's a peace that passes all understanding, that you only get when you allow space for the spirit to move in your life. And the evolvement of that is cool. I'm going to be content with what I have, where I'm at, with what I'm doing, with what my gifts are, and I'm going to keep getting better at them. And then things are going to pop off because you were staying focused on your giftings. You were staying focused on your lane. You were staying focused on the things that you do best. Now, I want to say this way, and I'm going to say it like this so that way it really lands. You don't need to know the entire path, and you shouldn't want to. Allow yourself to be surprised. And I say allow yourself to be surprised because certain things are just better when you're surprised. And anxiety sometimes can make you feel like you don't want to have a single surprise pop up because you want to stay so focused and rigid and know exactly what's going to happen, when and where. But when I say leave space for the spirit, that's going to give you some elements of surprise that keep you moving and put a smile on your face. And so having peace and being content with knowing you don't need to know the whole path. You don't need to know how every single thing for your life is going to lay out. Why? One, because it ain't going to happen that way. So automatically that's you relinquishing that whatever obsession that is driving that anxiety and the worry and all those different things. And then the energy you get from that can go into resting, can go into developing your craft, can go into getting better. So the sooner you're able to make peace with saying, I don't need to know my whole entire path. I can set a vision for where it is I want to go. I need to be aware of the value that I want to add, the gifts that I have, and I can stay focused on that. But I don't need to know the entire path because your dreams evolve, different things are going to pop up that you didn't even know, that weren't on your bingo card, that you didn't even know were going to happen. But they are also going to satisfy you and make you hungry in a way that's like, oh, shoot. Okay. Now, the second piece to this thought process of allowing your dreams to evolve is rooted in the world we live in today is not the world we're going to live in 1 to 5 to 10 to 15 years. 15 is like, I don't even want to think that far because of how different the world is going to be. So when I say allow your dreams to evolve and hold them with open hands and leave space for the spirit, and you don't have to know your whole path, is because the world is literally changing right before our eyes and at a faster rate than it ever has before. especially when it comes to technology and the things that are to offer. And this thought process came from picking Jew up from school. And one day I was in the car and I'd picked him up from, it was a tech camp and an inventor's camp. And he was making something. And as I drove away, I was like, yo, asking kids the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? One, if you ask them that, you're going to get a completely different answer than you would from anybody 5 to 10, 15 years ago. But two, I believe a lot of the things that kids want to be when they grow up don't even exist yet. Like the dreams that they may have right now, it only would behoove them to allow it to evolve, because in 5 to 10 to 15 years, the world is going to be different. And a lot of the occupations that exist now that are done by humans will probably not be done by humans, but then the need for humans is going to grow. And so the intelligence and the emotional intelligence and the creativity and all that stuff is going to shift. Why? Mostly because of AI and tech, right? But in that, it's important, again, to know who you are, to know what your gifts are, to know what you're passionate about. Because even though the world is going to evolve and change and grow, you should be doing the same thing and shouldn't feel a fear as if you are going to be misplaced. You are going to be outsourced, like your role is going to be taken over by AI or anything. And I know that kind of might sound funky, like where did that come from in this? Well, because we're talking about growth. We're talking about evolvement. The world is growing. Humans are evolving. And so it's important for you to stay creative about your craft. Stay open about the things that you can do and not be so rigid. Again, I'm like, this is what I do. This is how I do it. And then what happens when the world no longer needs that portion of what you do? And so it's important to be able to pivot and expand and grow and evolve and say, this is what I do, and I can do it these multiple different ways. My hope is that I'm articulating this in a way that makes sense to you and you're catching what I'm throwing at you from multiple different ways. Let me give you an example, 2 examples in one of why it's important for you to know yourself, know what you do and how you do it well, and understand these are multiple different ways that I can do it. And when you invest in your gift, your ability to do what you do in multiple ways is going to expand. It's going to evolve, right? So think about back in the 19s. I mean, I was growing up, early 2000s. Early 2000s was a good time frame. 2000 to 2010. How old was I in 2010? I don't know. I don't do that math right now. But anyways, back when VHSs and DVDs were popping, I'm talking before streaming, before Netflix, before all of that. I remember going to Blockbuster, video only, all the movie spots on like Fridays and Saturdays with my mom. We would go. I would get to pick out 3 movies. I'm a love movies. I pick out 3 movies, get us some popcorn, some snacks. Oh, I knew it was going to be a dope weekend because I'd be able to watch my favorite movies. And then we would go and I'd have to put the VHS in the thing and it would rewind, put it back in the box, and we would go drop it off so we miss that late fee. You don't have to do that no more. I can go sit in the living room right now and pop on a million different options. And the reason why I tell that is because the world evolves. And what happened, unfortunately, is all those companies that just focused on being selling VHSs and DVDs no longer exist. But you know who evolved? Netflix. I remember my Aunt Bertha, I cannot remember the year it was, but I remember she got these DVDs in the mail. Now, I need to share this with her, but when she was younger, or when I was younger, she had this wall, a big old wall of DVDs and VHSs of all the movies she watched. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Because again, I'm an entertainment head. I love movies. So I saw this wall and I was like, when I get older, I want to have, let your dreams evolve, y'all. This is literally case in point right here. When I was younger, when I grew up, I said, when I get my own house, I'm about to have a wall of DVDs and VHSs so I could watch all my favorite movies whenever I wanted to. Like when I remember being 10 years old saying, I want that when I grow up. So as I grew up, early college days, 18, 19, 20 through like 22, I started collecting DVDs, and I would buy my DVDs when Walmart had its Black Friday deals because they was like $5. So everybody was going to Black Friday for everything else. I was going to get DVDs, the $1, $3, and $5 DVDs. Man, cause why? I was saving up for my DVD collection. So when I finally moved and got my own spot, I couldn't wait. I threw them DVDs up in my little TV joint, and then I moved across the country. I think I was like 20 something. I still have my box of DVDs. I still have that box of DVDs to this day in my house. There's probably maybe 50 plus DVDs out with a DVD player sitting in my one of my properties. Ask me how many times I cracked open one of those DVDs. Never. I don't even know if the DVD player works. Like if somebody rents out an Airbnb room or staying at the house and they're like, oh, she got DVDs and goes and put one in the DVD player. I don't even know if the DVD player works because I never used it. But I loved having the collection. Now I got all the streaming services, so it allows me to still have that experience. I share this to share and to say that when I was a kid, I wanted the full DVD collection to watch all my favorite movies. Now I have every streaming platform to do the same thing. It just looks completely different. The dream is still realized. It is just evolved in a much different way. Same thing when it comes to books. I love books, and I remember having a bookcase and loved having a bookcase the same way I wanted a DVD and VHS space. I've got books right now in my office, but I would much rather listen to a book on Audible, and I would much rather read the book on my iPad. Why? Because I don't want to travel with a whole bunch of books. I remember traveling and having like 3 or 4 books and being like, this doesn't work for the capacity, right? Like I want to read 3 books, but I don't want to carry 3 books. So now my actual book library looks way different than I envisioned it would. So when I encourage you to allow your dreams to evolve, what I'm saying is keep the dream, but do know that when it gets realized, it'll look different than what it was that you originally dreamt. And more times than not, it'll be better. It'll be more efficient. It'll be something that puts a smile on your face of like, yo, I had no idea. The last story that I'm going to share, and we're going to close this out, is Tyler Perry. I'm a TP fan. I'm a Tyler Perry fan. I'm a fan of just not all of his work, that's for sure. But ain't nobody a fan of all my work, which is great. But I'm a fan of his consistency. I'm a fan of his business acumen. I'm a fan of how he puts other people on, all those different things. And when Tyler Perry first started going, he started getting rocking with plays. That was his thing. He had plays. He'd be all around. And what happened was he then had those plays that got turned into DVDs. And people in the hood would bootleg his DVDs, and the Medea plays would be all over the place, which is amazing. Now, what's cool is though, as he continued to stay consistent, here's where I'm about to turn this out. Here we go. Tyler knew and believed that his gifts would make room for him. And literally for him, he needed actual rooms for his plays, right? And then his next play was not necessarily play, but the money play was the DVDs. So he knew that would work. But then he also had a vision that wouldn't work for forever and that he wanted more. So he needed his dreams to evolve. So the next thing was this. The more he started to share his gift with other people, the more opportunities came his way. The more plays he put on, the more they traveled, the more the DVDs got around, the more he started sharing his gift of creating and writing and acting and speaking and all that stuff, the more opportunities came his way. The next piece was this. He stayed faithful to developing his craft. He was like, if I can take this from plays and DVDs and I'm watching at the same time, the world is evolving. And now there's like streaming happening. And I wonder if I could also take this same play concept. Can I expand it to movies? And then can I expand it to this? And can I expand it to shows? And can I expand it to, and now you see where he's at today. But if he had said, no, I just want to do plays and I want them to come out on DVD and that's it, and then they were stopping making DVDs, then what would have happened? There'd be a whole lot of films, great films, good and bad, and people acting jobs that wouldn't have happened simply because he was open to allowing his dreams to evolve. Now, another piece when it comes to TP is he used to, again, take his shows on the road. Now he has his own space. He has his own compound where he does all his shooting and acting, and he has literally allowed the dreams of multiple people to evolve because he was faithful to investing in his craft. So my hope for you that you get out of this practice, number one, is a mindset that says my dreams are going to make room for me. My gifts are going to make room for me. And it is going to be massive, but only if you invest in it. The second piece is this. I need you to get in the habit of sharing your gift. Your gifts are not meant just for you. And I think one of the most selfish and stingy and childlike things that we can do, immature things that we can do, is think and be tricked and fooled into believing that our gifts are only for us. That part right there. Your gifts are not only meant for you. And this is coming from an only child. And this is coming from somebody who's helping to raise an only child. It is so easy for us to get tricked into thinking that the gifts that we have in life are meant only for us. They're meant only for our benefit. They're meant only for our use. They're meant only for our joy. But anybody who was raised in a multi-kid household, I'm sure will tell you, no, when you got something, you got to share that joint with everybody. And I think that that's beautiful because that shows you that the gifts that you have are meant to bring joy to everybody around you. And when you share your gift, you get in the habit of sharing it with other people, it gives you back more. It's an arrow that goes both ways. So I want you to make a habit of sharing your gifts. The last thing I need you to do is develop the skill. Please, please, please develop the skill of staying faithful to developing your craft. Develop the skill of staying faithful to developing your craft. When you do this, the dreams on your heart will get so large. Your mind will get so blown. You'll be so surprised. And I think that is the point because you do not have to know the whole entire path. But if you stay committed and you stay faithful, you'll look back in your life and be like, man, I've done some amazing things. And this journey turned out way better than I thought it would. Despite all the dumb stuff, despite life, and despite what's going on over here, there, everywhere, I stayed faithful. And because I stayed faithful, I was able to live a beautiful life and leave a beautiful legacy. And that is my hope for you. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for being here in practice. I hope that you got a whole lot out of this. I encourage you to move. I challenge you to do the things and to adopt these mindsets, habits, and skills that we dropped here today in practice. Let me know. Talk to me in the comments what impacted you. And if this brought value to your life, please share this with somebody else so that way they can start the journey of living out their purpose with confidence. Until next time, I'm your coach. I love you all so much. Peace.